Is renting a car at Ishigaki, Japan's cruise port a key to unlocking the island's hidden gems, or a stressful nightmare? We sailed all the way south to one of Japan's most remote islands to put it to the test. Our verdict on whether it was serene or pure stress is coming up. But first, you need port basics. I'm Troy, and this is the Port Lowdown for Ishigaki, Japan, port of call. Ishigaki is way south, part of the Yaeyama Islands group, which is one of the most remote parts of Okinawa Prefecture. It's not just Okinawa Island, but a 160-island archipelago stretching 1,000 kilometers along the East China Sea. This remoteness and the proximity to China has created an island culture all its own. In fact, for much of its history, these islands weren't part of Japan at all, but the Ryukyu Kingdom. When picking what to do here on limited time, there's basically three choices. You can do an organized tour, or local tour, ferry to the outer islands, such as Taketomi Island and its famous red roof houses, and Iriomote National Park, or rent a car. While the main town is cute, it's small and limited. Getting beyond town is necessary to get the most out of the day. So we chose a car for our mixed generation group. It provided maximum flexibility for everybody, and an ability to change gears at the last minute to explore stuff along the road, which we did, but more on that later in the video. So let's get port oriented. The dock is just a little bit south of town across a bridge, and while it's possible to walk to the downtown area, there are sidewalks even across the bridge, it is a somewhat uncomfortable distance, about 2 kilometers to the main part of town, and about a 40-minute walk. But no worries, there's an easy option to get to town. More on that in just a minute. No terminal, but a simple shaded walkway. And we really appreciated the rolling shades in this heat. And I noticed this building under construction right next door. Can't tell if it's a new terminal or what. And I can't confirm any information about it, so maybe one of you guys knows? Along the walkway, a small tourist information booth. One benefit of this compact area is that all the transport services that you will need regardless are close, right at the entrance. And this compact area comes in handy if you have to run. So beyond the gate, pretty easy. Free shuttle to the left, taxis and tours to the right, with lots of cabs waiting, many of whom will hire out for the day as a private driver or tour guide. See our link in the description for more details. While there's no rideshare here, you can still use the Uber app to call a taxi, or use the Go app. Now, this is a small city, so drivers might have limited English. And also, be sure to have cash on hand. They may or may not take credit cards. At the far end of the lot, the bathrooms. Clean as always. Notice how everyone's huddled in the shade? It wasn't even mid-morning, and in June, it was already roasting. Our rental car company also used this lot to pick up clients to their office, although we had to ask around to be sure who it was.
No, not this one. Okay. So it's not this one yet, but I'm supposed to wait here too. So.
Now all this is moot if you plan to go to downtown. For that, it's the shuttle. Where's the shuttle bus? The shuttle bus.
Shuttle bus, there.
Okay, just free, right? We go.
Oh, free, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now the free shuttle bus will take you to the Euglena Ferry Terminal, a roughly 10-minute ride. There were several buses operating, which kept everything flowing pretty quick. I just followed the guides. Comfortable, clean, and looks like some small storage at the top. The ride was pretty comfortable, AC, and pretty quiet. Over the bridge, the bus hangs a left, and from there it's a short hop to the station, where I noticed the independent tour operators waiting. While my wife picked up the rental car, I scouted the ferry terminal, which for all intents and purposes was the cruise port terminal, and a jumping off point for further exploring. No parading around half naked, please. Its primary purpose is to ferry passengers to the other islands. Compact, fairly simple layout. Inside the terminal, you'll find ticket counters for several different ferry companies. Now, these companies not only sell simple point-to-point ferry tickets, but also a wide variety of day tours and tour packages to the neighboring islands. These services are geared for domestic travel primarily, so there's less English signage than you might be used to in larger cities. Let Google Translate do some work. Also here is an ATM that takes international cards. Clean bathrooms on both sides of the terminal, although not as high-tech as you might be used to in bigger cities. Vending, of course. Tourist info, lockers, some food and shopping on site, onigiri and bentos, yes please. And the local Blue Seal ice cream's a thing here, as well as this Maria shake, locally sourced from the Maria Dairy Farm. And this interesting addition, the Ishigaki Island Honshi no Umi Planetarium, with programs to guide you through the constellations, stars, and celestial events visible from the island. Incidentally, there is a local bus system on the island. Cost effective? Yes, but with a limited schedule. For a cruiser, it may not be the most efficient use of time. Which brings us back to car rental. For us, the most efficient time saver short of a tour. Car rental is a popular option here. There are lots of car rental companies scattered around the city and at the nearby airport. Eventually, we settled on Grand Rent-A-Car, which checked off all the boxes we needed. It was close to the port, had excellent reviews, and would pick us up right by the ship to take us to the office. We booked ahead of time, as you always must. Keep several things in mind, besides having to drive on the left here. You'll need an international driver's permit, which you'll need to get before you go on your trip, and you need to top off the gas with a receipt before you return the car. We go into a little more detail about these in our previous video. Here's a link. As we often found with Japanese car rental agencies, they came with a nice booklet detailing everything, including the closest gas station and how to return the car.
It's a very small operation, mom and pop kind of thing, literally, and a baby. They picked me up in this car, so that's kind of nice.
They have a GPS here though, kind of.
They do.
But
it's
all
do.
in Japanese.
But it's all in Japanese. They only speak Japanese, so there is that. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. They tell you what's covered and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest, it is quite, the insurance doesn't cover that much. So there's a limitation, you know, there's a lot of limitation, but then the insurance is also not that expensive. So there is that. There is no toll here, so that makes it easier. Total with everything is 7,500, so it's like 75 bucks.
Really?
No, less, 50. So considering this is a mom and pop operation, I was quite impressed.
Since we pre-arranged everything ahead of time and used Google Translate, the language barrier really wasn't a big deal. Plus, they were exceedingly kind and professional, picking us up after dropping off the car and taking us back to the ship, right on time. Many of the car rental agencies in town are regional or local operations though. The big international brands are by the airport. Just bear in mind though that the airport is a roughly 30-minute drive away, so that will take 1 hour total out of your cruise time. So how's island driving in Japan? Slow and mellow.
The nice thing about driving in Japan is that everybody drives slow enough, you know, you don't have to worry so much about making a mistake.
Yeah. With some quirks. So this guy's going really slow, so how are we going to do that? Wait, it's a blind turn. We can't.
He's getting slower. It's like,
I think he's getting slower. He wants us to be good citizens.
Oh, look at that. He has an AC.
In his jacket.
Yeah,
That's why he's wearing a jacket in this heat. And stoplights can be in some interesting places. Do you just stop and go? Or?
No, it's a light.
Oh, it's way over there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's something's way over there. And roadside gutters, perfect for catching a wheel.
See, it's an open ditch.
You could drive yourself right into that.
Yeah, you could, you know, so you...
Be careful. Because right...
This is inside the line.
Yeah, just stay inside the line, obviously. So don't pull over and try to park unless you use... Because it might be overgrown like this. You know, it could be a ditch there, you just don't see it.
Right. No, that's true. That's a good point.
So don't pull over unless, you know, you could really see where you're going.
Despite the quirks though, it was a pretty mellow experience overall.
Yeah,
it's a very, the road conditions are pretty good.
Actually,
and the road is
road conditions are pretty nice, yeah. Although this was a casual ride, there were some points we wanted to hit, starting with the furthest first, as a general rule. Point 1 was Kabira Bay, near the top northwest, and about a 30-minute drive from town. It's considered the island's most iconic and beautiful spot. Here, you tuck into the tight gravel parking lot and maybe arrange a glass bottom boat ride and marvel at the beauty. And you'll find lots of other visitors who agree. But this spot is really too good to miss. You can't swim here though, due to the strong currents and that the whole area is a protected black pearl farm. Yep. In fact, this place produced the world's first cultivated black pearls. Bathrooms are older, but free and right at the entrance to the beach walk. The walk from the parking lot is a bit on the tight side, with taxis dropping right off in the front. Still, you got your restaurants and souvenir shops on the other side. Part of the fun of driving yourself is roadside discoveries, like this vantage point for some quick pictures and this roadside stand. Pineapples. Now this totally gives off the Hawaiian vibes, right? But these suckers are smaller, sweeter, and somehow less acidic than the Hawaiian variety.
They have a sample here that you could try, and I'm gonna be honest, Usually, I have problem with pineapple. You know, we have this mild allergy that makes your mouth feel a little bit tingly after you eat it. You know, and they, of course, typically run sour. Let's try this one. Does it live up to the hype?
This is the gold pain type pineapple.
Oh my god. It's so good. There's no hint of sourness at all. It's almost like mango. Oh my god. You really should stop by at this place and get yourself a pineapple. Your life will be changed.
No English, but we figured things out.
Translate the following one. Can you just choose 2 for us and cut them? The sweet one.
では2つ選んで切ってもらえますかでは2つ選んで切ってもらえますか
It helps that people here are friendly and patient.
This one. Yeah. See?
Hey.
Okay.
Now, according to the web, this place is now closed, but I'll leave the Google Map link anyway, in case you're passing by. Point is, discover your own side excursions. The other place we made note to visit was on our way back to town, the Ishigaki Stalactite Cave, about a 10-minute drive from the ferry terminal. It's an underground limestone cave system formed over 200,000 years ago. Originally underwater, it started as a coral reef until ocean levels dropped. Now, the stars of this show here are the numerous stalactites, many formed into massive columns. It's a really cool experience, and while the path is well lit and maintained, just rigorous enough to feel like a mini adventure. Our parents stayed behind as this was a hard no for people with mobility issues. Lots of narrow stairs, equally narrow passages, low and dripping ceilings, and in summer, humid. You go in a particular direction, which winds for quite a while, roughly 660 meters. There are benches along the route, just not a lot. Like I said, it's decently lit and, in some sections, festive. Like Pirates of the Caribbean without the animatronics. It's Christmas in the cave. Their huge gift shop is well worth a visit too. Super clean bathrooms, as expected. And lots of cool things to check out, like this prize-grabbing ball.
You pay 1,000 yen for a chance to draw this. You just go, you see, you got for one prize, you got one of this.
Which one do you think I should get, huh?
Oh my god, just get whichever one, dude.
Can't. I want to get one final.
Okay, here we go. Okay, bring it to them. You need a nail. There. Okay. How many, Kevin? Oh, okay, so one. Okay.
The small one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
So these are Shisha dolls.
Yes.
Sorry, Shisa dolls. The guardian dog.
Yeah, the guardian
dog.
temple.
They're typically at the entrances of houses to ward off evil spirits and come in pairs. Mouth open to scare away the bad guys, and closed mouth to keep in the good. They are everywhere here, like a regional mascot.
And it's specific to Okinawa only. See?
You can only do this in Okinawa.
And it's so show.
And this cutie protected us for the rest of our trip. For lunch, there really was only one option for us first-timers, the Euglena Mall, right in town. But first, we assumed like a parking lot or a parking structure, but no. It's an outside parking lot, which had small but very common device in Japan, the elevated curb. You pull in, go over the lowered curb. After a short time, the curb rises and blocks your wheel. When you want to get out, you pay the fee for the stall and the curb lowers. Have to admit, there's a slight comfort zone thing to overcome, but actually it was fine. This one was payment in card or cash, but not all will take cards, I'm sure. The mall was smallish, but a real treat to take in all the products here. Definitely funky and interesting. A mini microcosm of Okinawa style culture. The Spam, a holdout from World War II, the mainstay Orion beer, the pineapples, the ever-present Shisas, and this prized and expensive delicacy, habushu, a preserved venomous habu pit viper in rice liquor. I believe this falls under the category of, you don't have to tell me twice. The alcohol neutralizes the venom and is said to be an aphrodisiac, so if you want to party back on the ship with this, you might have some trouble getting it through. Just saying. At the center and downstairs is the compact but way diverse food court.
They have the tempura with rice balls. Right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Never seen that tempura before.
I mean, this kind of tempura?
Yeah. Oh, this looks like a bit of yakitori, fried stuff. fruit, all the different juice. Definitely you got the pineapple. Whew. So many stuff.
As usual for Japan food markets, seating was at a premium. With our group, we had to resort to the find and hold technique. You bust your own trays, but you also clean up your own tables with provided wipes and sprays. So dive into Okinawan food culture, Wagyu beef burgers, Wagyu being a specialty here, local donuts, spam, yakitori, and even more Wagyu beef specialities. That's the Wagyu sushi.
Right.
Like a seaweed tempura, you said. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, this is good. This is good. I like this. This is rice with some of the, I guess, black rice also, sticky rice, right? But it's wrapped in a fish cake. So the fish cake is actually outside.
Say what?
I know. It's really cool. Be a pineapple, stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. I love that.
Staying close to the port at the end of the trip made lunch and shopping a lot more relaxed. So, was renting a car worth it? We certainly won out on the hidden gems aspect of our trip. And it was no nightmare at all, but a few things to adjust to an otherwise relaxing time behind the wheel.
Spam, egg, and miso.
Spam, egg, and miso. Okay.
It's good. I mean, it's spam.
In fact, we'd suggest this over a bus.
If you have a young ones or, elderly, you really need to either get a car or well, definitely don't do the excursion in the bus because they will make you leave the bus. You have to get out, A lot of time there's not always
Yeah, they want to
an option. Yeah. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Or do taxi. They have a lot of taxi and that they would be more flexible.
Our brief touchdown in Ishigaki was a rich experience and we can't wait to explore some more. If this video has been helpful to you, be sure to give it a like and share with your shipmates. We aim to grow and support the independent cruiser community with helpful port reports, ship tours, and tips. We also have a website, portlowdown.com, and we absolutely love your comments and questions. Keep them coming and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Happy travels and see you on the next cruise.